Welcome to another episode of Home Sweet Home. My name is Rod McCall.
You're in the wrong line of business. You need to be a radio host.
You know, I have told you, I've told many others, I have a face for radio.
It's true. That's very true.
So our friend John Lewis, he used to be a radio DJ.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He agrees that I truly do have a face for radio. So,
I'm sorry, I didn't introduce myself. Moving on, I'm Bryce Runge. That's such a wonderful thing to be back in the recording studio with you, Mr. McCall.
Well, yes, it has been a while. I've had people reach out and go, "Did you guys stop doing the podcast?" And I said, "No, just lots of things have kind of interfered with our ability to get together and make some new episodes, but hopefully we can kind of fix things, and things are..."
That's a really nice way of you saying that Bryce is a slapstick, and
no, it's not just you. It takes two.
It's not you. It's work. Me.
Well, I'm not going to say that either. I will just say that it's both of us. So
yes, it takes to
make this work.
To work it.
So,
but it's just not that. There's a lot of things involved with it.
Well, that is true. There's a lot of technical backsides to this that
yes.
A lot of research actually does go into what we do. So, but
I'm grateful for you doing all that, by the way.
Well, thanks. Hey, you do the technical stuff because I wouldn't know my way around the sounding board over there.
Yeah.
So, but we could cross train.
We could.
Won't, but we could. So,
well, good deal. What are we talking about today?
Well, you and I are
amazing.
Both. You're what?
What?
Jeez. All right. So, you and I both we both come from parents who were long time married. My parents, my dad passed away. Handful of months, about 7 months ago. Mm-hmm. But he and my mom were married for 62 years. Your mom and dad have been married for a very long time as well.
Yeah.
Yet you and I seem to have fallen short of making that mark. And so I ran across an article on iMom. And anyway, they were talking about things that, 4 things to avoid when having a conflict in your marriage. And so I thought, that would be something maybe we could explore.
Yep.
And I thought it would be really neat if I asked somebody who has gotten more experience than you and I in dealing with conflicts in marriage.
Yeah.
And so I have with us a guest today. His name is Scott Nichols. And, Scott, how are you?
I'm well. Thank you for having me on the show.
Well, absolutely. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Instead of everybody listening to me all the time, I'll let you
yes, please.
Explain why
please do. Please take over. At this point, please do.
Why are you here? Why did I ask you to be part of our group?
So this topic is an interesting topic with talking about conflict in marriage, and you had expressed that you've been in a situation where you were divorced and remarried, but you come from a family where your parents were long time married, and I actually my wife and I both come from quite the opposite, right? Where our parents were both divorced and remarried, and yet we have been able to be married for 31 years.
Wow. That's amazing.
And so we met when I was 17 and my wife was 18. And we got married when I was 19 and she was 20.
Wow.
And so...
You got an older woman too.
I did.
I got an older woman.
Not me. I'm robbing the cradle. I shouldn't. We got to edit. We got to edit that part out. I'm just kidding.
Sorry.
It's all right.
Well,
So yeah, a long time marriage. It's been a lot of effort into that, but well worth it.
all right. Well, would it be fair to say that you've had to deal with conflict?
Oh, absolutely. I think everybody has to deal with conflict, whether it's in marriage or whether it's in any kind of relationship. There's always conflict between two different people.
Okay. Well, would you guys agree that conflict is probably the number one killer of a relationship?
I would tend to agree with that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I picked this particular article because it provided 4 really good things to potentially avoid. Because, I mean, when you argue, I took a marriage and family class in college, and it said a lot of times when you fight, it's an explosion, and what you're fighting about really isn't what you're angry about. And next thing you know, you have what they called an everything but the kitchen sink fight. And I would have to say that in my first marriage, there were quite a few of those. Things that would just build, and something small would be the straw that broke the camel's back, and lots of arguing, name-calling, raised voices, hurt feelings when it was all over with. And looking back now, I would say that the primary reason for that was because we didn't argue in a correct way. I don't think we were actually communicating in a way that would resolve the issue. We were yelling to hurt each other.
Right.
And so I like this article. Guy's name, he's a marriage and family counselor. His name is Ted Lowe. And he says 4 things to avoid. And he says for the first thing he talks about is interpretation. He says a lot of silly fights start because a spouse will misinterpret the situation. And so you'll use the phrase, "You did this because of blank."
Yeah.
I would say that is a true statement for me.
Right.
I would truly misinterpret it, what she who shall not be named would do. I even have to be careful of doing that now.
Right.
I'll say to Sherry, well, you did that because.
Yeah.
And what do you guys think of that?
I think we're all, guilty of trying to interpret what the other person is saying. Right? We have a filter that brings it into our own mind. Right? We try to bend it to what we're thinking at the time. So that's something that we probably need to stop.
How do you and your wife deal with that?
So early on, at 17 and 18, we were rather unusual. We decided to get married when I was 18 and she was 19. And, we had a lot of discussions that people of that age don't have.
Okay.
About marriage. And a lot of that revolved around our situations with our parents, right? So they got divorced, both sets of parents, and they got remarried again. And, we felt like we didn't want that to happen. Mm-hmm. And so we had a lot of discussions. But then, we got married, and early on in our marriage, we sought a lot of help from books. In fact, I went through my books this week and cataloged them all, found I have 493 books.
Oh my gosh.
Nice.
And among those, I run across 2 of them that I think are relevant here. And one of them, they're both by the author Stephen Covey. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Yeah, we both have.
The 7 Habits kind of series. And he's got one that's, more for business leadership, and he's got one that's for families. And we have both. And, I read those books probably 21, 22 years old.
Wow.
And the one thing that sticks out to me from that book always is habit number 5 that he has, and that is seek first to understand and then to be understood.
Yeah.
And I think that is an important key, right?
Wow.
Yep.
That fits exactly with what this Ted Lowe guy is saying about misunderstanding. Well, if you're arguing and saying you did this because, then you're not seeking to understand.
Mm-hmm.
And so, okay. So I guess then listen first.
Yeah.
Ask questions. I know that's one thing Sherry always says to me is you need to ask more questions before you start jumping to conclusions. And I guess is jumping to conclusions then a misinterpretation?
I think so.
That would lead to misinterpretation, yes.
Okay.
So basically what she's saying is gather all the information that you possibly can by asking really detailed questions so that you understand.
Okay. Before I said you did this because.
Right. Well, I think when you say you're pointing the finger, and that person, your partner, your spouse's guard's already going to go up. I know for me, when someone points the finger at me, my guard goes up. Like, hold on a second, you're just throwing blame out there. You're pointing the finger without understanding the full situation. Because if you really had all the information and you understood, you would take that back and you would not say you first and foremost.
True.
And I think a lot of people they're quick to point the finger.
Well, yeah, and if you're doing that, and you mentioned a good thing about that wall going up, if you become defensive right out the gate, then do you listen, as you said, Scott, to anything else? Because if there's a valid point being made by, your spouse, you're not listening to it.
I got my wall up already.
Yeah.
Now it makes it harder for your words to penetrate my wall.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
No.
Absolutely. Yeah, just like people Googling things on the internet, right? They run it through their filter and find the things that work for their end result, right? What they're looking for. And
Yep.
I think we do that in relationships and in marriage as well. We try to make the situation fit our facts, fit what we're doing. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. If he talks about listening to the other person and then reflecting back what they are feeling or thinking, so that you can really confirm that rather than just assume what it is.
You know what happens when you assume.
Yeah. Well, as you say that reminds me of my catechism classes in the Beatitudes where it says it is better to understand than to be understood. So I guess between Stephen Covey and the man upstairs, something I guess I should aspire more to. Because I will admit that I do a lot of times jump to conclusions. You're driving like a squirrel because you're trying to piss me off.
Right.
Well, those people don't know who I am. And there's not a concerted effort of the hundreds of people out there on the road to deliberately drive slow and parallel in 3 lanes going the same direction just to piss me off.
Well, not since you took that sticker off your truck anyway.
Wait a minute, what sticker?
The college one.
Oh, yeah, well, okay, fair point.
Well, and they're too busy on their phone to even pay attention to you. So, I mean, come on, give them some grace, okay?
All right, fair point. All right, well, so the second thing that is brought up on this, I want to summarize the last one on interpretation. He says, bottom line, we don't have the ability to clearly interpret our spouses and their actions. So stop trying. So, all right. So before I jump to the next one, I figure we ought to sum that one up. All right. So the second one, and oh Lord, I am really guilty of this too. Mind reading. Do not use the phrase, I know what you're thinking. You don't know what the hell I'm thinking.
Unless you're a mind reader.
Sure.
And I will admit that my crystal ball is broken. My ability to telepathically read minds is impossible. It's blind, stupid luck if I do guess right. So, I don't know. Have you guys ever done that? Have you ever used that phrase? I know what you're thinking.
I know what you're thinking.
Yeah. Or I'm assuming what you're thinking.
Maybe would that be a better way of saying that? I bet you're thinking.
Yeah.
I wonder if that would be a better way of saying that instead of just saying I know.
Right. Well, I
Or is that saying the same thing, just worded differently?
maybe worded differently?
Yeah.
Does it mean different things when you say I bet you're thinking this versus I know what you're thinking?
Well, I know is like 100% without a doubt. You
Okay.
know, I bet is it's a little bit different. I mean, if we're getting down to the nitty gritty on
But
that.
is it enough different?
I don't know.
Or
Probably
do
not.
you-
Your partner is going to view it as the same way. I get in a bad habit of hijacking Suzanne's comment or, question or whatever. Because I think I know what she's going to say, and I'll try and finish it, and she'll look at me, you didn't let me finish. You're right. I didn't, because I wasn't listening. I thought I knew what you were going to say, because I know you're thinking. I didn't say it. The phrase, I just said what I thought she was going to say, and it's always typically wrong. So,
Is that why we interrupt?
Yeah, I think so.
yeah.
Here's the thing, right? Flip it the other way. Have you ever been in a situation where your spouse said, I know what you're thinking?
Oh my.
Probably, yeah. I just can't really pinpoint it.
Thank
If
you,
they did
yeah.
do that, and they were incorrect in what you were thinking, how would you feel about that?
Well, I wasn't thinking that at all. What the? Stop putting words in my mouth.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And I think this comes back again to that habit number 5, right? Trying to understand, giving that person a chance to speak and convey what they're thinking. And it may not be in your timing, right? It may not be right in that moment
Okay.
because they want to process things, and so you might have to be patient, which is probably a whole other episode.
Yeah, that's... yeah.
Right. But it's a process to be able to go through that and be patient and work these things out.
I'm glad you do mention the word patient. One of the things that I have learned from going from marriage number 1 through the divorce process, and this is something that Sherry and I do way better than I did with She Who Shall Not Be Named, and that is I will process why I'm angry, what specifically I am angry at. And then after I am not volatile angry, I will approach it when I'm more calm and we're in a situation where Sherry and I can be able to have a conversation rather than an argument. So,
Absolutely.
am I perfect? Oh, heavens, no. I think she would be over here doing a bobblehead going, yes, you're right, you're not perfect. Because I still do emotionally respond, but I think I do it way less than what I used to. With the idea of trying to get away from, I know what you're thinking.
Right.
Trying to use, as you suggested, the idea of being patient. Because I do sometimes put words in people's mouths.
There's this really old book. It's been around since the beginning of time.
Really?
Yeah. And there's a...
What's it called?
There's a saying in there. It says, quick to listen, slow to anger. It's the Bible.
Oh.
Just in case you didn't know.
There's a lot of great phrases.
There's a lot of really wisdom. Basic instructions before leaving Earth. Right? They're basic.
Quick.
For some, maybe. Quick to listen. Be quick to listen. We've been talking about becoming an effective listener since day 1 on our podcast. We're still working on it.
Yeah.
But, yeah. We tend to flip that. we fly off the handle, then we have a lot more work to do to mend. And now we're fighting against all the stuff that we didn't want because we were so quick to become angry instead of quick to listen. And we're not. And I know we've talked about this before, and you know, Suzanne and I have had these conversations where it's like, I'm on your side, like I'm not the prosecutor. Sometimes we act like the prosecutor with our spouse. Like we're on the same team. We should be quick to listen and understand, right?
Okay.
Not so quick to fly off the handle and respond with anger and whatnot. So yeah, I think a lot of us fall into that category. I'm raising my hand.
Okay. Yeah. I will admit though, over the last year or two, I've been falling into some bad habits. I haven't been, as you said, Scott, being more patient. I haven't been listening to understand. And I guess that's why when this article popped up on my newsfeed, it really resonated with me because I'm not doing the things that I know. I am too quick to anger because we've got so much crud going on at the house these days. You know, just dealing with family dynamics and all that's going on.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Like, if we all lived in some kind of utopia, we wouldn't have conflict, right? But we live in a world where, and in our family dynamics, where there are issues, right? There are conflicts that come up. There is stress, whether it's money or family issues, you know, whatever it might be. There's stress, and that will always make smaller problems become larger.
Oh yeah,
if we're not careful.
Yep.
Well, then I guess that fits real well with the third thing they say. Well, I may have done that, but at least I didn't do blank. And it's kind of like it. In fact, it's highlighted in here. No spouse ever has said without sarcasm, "I'm sorry, you're right." In fact, I think I've said it pretty much exactly like that before. Yeah, just because I did this, well, at least I didn't do that too.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, are you shifting blame?
Right.
Absolutely right. I would say never, ever compare. Ever. You don't ever want to compare those things. And it's silly, right? I think it's up there with some almost childish behavior where, you know, you get pulled over by a cop and you're like, yeah, so I was going 10 over, but at least I wasn't like
20 over.
Right. You didn't see that guy over there.
How about that guy? I mean, why didn't you get that guy? Right? I mean, my son said recently he got pulled over and he asked the cop, you know, why'd you pull me over? They were all going that fast too. Well, you were the one at the end. You were the easiest to catch. Right? So, but you know, you don't want to compare. It's each, you know, your partner in life or whoever you're in a relationship with is a unique person, right? And they deserve to be treated for, you know, who they are and not being compared to other people or other situations or other problems or other things that they may or may not have done.
Yeah.
Well, he ends this discussion on comparison. He says, comparing transgressions brings nothing to a relationship but added tension. Mm-hmm. And well, again, as I read that, it really hit home that, well, yeah, why are you're trying, it's a game of one-upmanship.
Right.
Well, in a fight, that's the last thing you want for a resolution. You might as well punch somebody in the nose.
Yeah.
So
don't do that though.
No, that'll
do
land you in jail, or worse. All right. So the last thing he said. All right. So he says, don't interpret, don't mind read, don't compare, and the last thing he says, threats. Well, if you're going to do this, then I'll just do that.
Yeah.
And, you're backing yourself into a corner.
Right.
And that goes back to something you and I have talked about before, Bryce, is absolutes. Mm-hmm. If you're going to argue with absolutes, then there's no solution that can be had that will make both sides happy.
Right. Yeah, and Scott, I know that we are just first meeting, and I've said this before, and we've kind of gone away from it. It's still there. It's one of our core values as a couple is to have conflict resolution. And like you said earlier, it's like we're surrounded by so much stress outside of our home and then inside of our home. For us specifically, we've got the 2 little girls and Braddock's home, and those are all very huge blessings, but there's a lot. Mm-hmm. There's a lot going on, and so sometimes we forget, hey, remember, we're to resolve conflict. You know, and so, something before that just caught me is, and I think we've talked about this, is in that argument, again, like, hey, we're on the same team, like comparing, like, right. Again, it says, like, don't compare your transgressions. So in all of this, whatever your points are, love doesn't keep score. Period. Right. Period. And so, like, that's for us, I have to remind myself that, because I want to be big, bad Billy, badass, right? Uh-huh. Like, oh, I'm the man, right? Well, you just went down a hole, right, that's going to be really hard to dig out. And you've hurt some feelings along the way. Remember, love doesn't keep score. Remember, you have a core value that's conflict resolution. So you're on the same team, right? So I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there.
I just, I'm curious, if there's ever been anybody who has been threatened and then backed down and felt good and said, yeah, you were right. I mean, well, that's not, I just don't think that's something that happens, right? Threats are always, if I receive a threat against me, then my guard is up, like you were saying. Right. And I'm not going to be able to engage with you and do that, get that understanding from you anymore, right? It's over at that point, and you don't want to do that. And I think that, we were talking about marriage here, marriage traditions, whether it be Christian or some other religion, or even through laws, common law and all that, right? I mean, you're always becoming one, right? Why would you threaten yourself?
Yeah. Yeah, that's...
Well, the one thing that he mentions in here about threats is that when you make those threats, well, then you're acting as a bully, and who wants to be married to a bully?
Right.
And so, well...
But back to that point, right? Like, this is your partner you're talking about. You're one. You're in this together. Nobody's above or below. You're equal. And, there's just no place for things like threats in that.
Right.
The point of having an argument should be actually phrased maybe instead of an argument as a discussion. Let's have a conversation about X. If you can have it with lower your emotional, how do you want to say it? Your emotional beginning. If you can be more calm when you begin, and you can avoid the 4 things of trying to interpret what the other person's thinking, trying to mind read them, trying to compare, and avoid using threats, then potentially you can get to what you want, which is a resolution on the problem that you're having with what the other person is doing or not doing.
Right.
And I don't know that you can ever have a relationship in which you do not have conflict. Just, I think it comes down to how you handle it. How do you deal with it? And again, this hit home with me, especially as I started thinking about how over the last 12 months, as life has really been upside down at our house, I've been finding I've been using more of this, or using some of these 4 things of what Ted Lowe says don't do
Right.
in the way that Sherry and I have conversations, or even worse with the other family members at the house. And it's creating more tension rather than less.
Right.
One of my takeaways from this, of course, is to, make sure that you are giving each other time to process it and come back to that conversation rather than yelling and screaming, especially if there's children involved in the relationship. You don't want to do that in front of children. But one of the things that my wife and I have lived by is to never go to bed angry. Right? So we give each other time, but we still try to resolve it at least to a point where we're not angry about it anymore. We might still be frustrated or have other feelings about it, but we're not angry at each other, and we can go to bed and have a good night's sleep.
Yeah. No, it's good.
Well, Scott, thanks for being here.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Any other things that you and your wife do that you kind of can hang your hat on as why you guys have been able? I mean, again, as I heard you say, you're high school sweethearts, and you got married at a very young age. I mean, because Bryce and I didn't get married until I was 27 years old, and Bryce was in his mid-20s.
Yep.
And then, well, they both met unhappy ends. But here, because I always tell kids, don't marry young, and yet here you are. You did the thing that I always tell the kids, well, just because, don't marry your high school sweetheart. Don't marry young because it's just going to end because you're too dang young to appreciate things. But yet you guys have made it work. So besides not going to bed angry, anything else?
So I always tell kids, that... I don't recommend it to get married that young. I was a junior in high school when we met. My wife was already graduated. So, interesting dynamic there. But, it may not be the best thing to do to get married that young. But if you put the effort into it and you consider some things beforehand, before you actually get married, then it might work out. I mean, I've heard of lots of other couples that have been married for long periods of time. I think Jimmy Carter and his wife, right? They were very young when they got married as well. So it can work, but what I attribute it to is effort. And I like to use the word effort instead of work because you can quit work and get another job.
Okay. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
But effort is something that continues and improves what you already have. And so effort is what it takes. And it's not easy, but it gets easier with time.
Yeah. Good
Well
stuff.
said. I like the way you said effort versus work, because I've always said, well, marriage is work, but I've never thought about it from that perspective. So
Work has a negative connotation in our lives, right?
okay.
I don't want to work at it. I want to
No
work
kidding.
for it.
That's why I want to be skinny.
But effort is something that we all do every day, right?
Okay.
Some people, it's effort to get out of bed,
Oh,
Yeah.
amen.
like this morning for me. But
It took me a lot of effort too.
Well, Scott, this has been a lot of fun. Would you
Yes.
consider coming back?
I appreciate it. Yeah, this has been fun.
Well, that'd be awesome.
All right. Well, we are pretty much up against our unofficial self-imposed time. So with that, be kind to your spouse, give them a hug. And until next time, I'm Rod.
And I'm Bryce.
Ciao.